Hello, welcome to another
We're live, Johnny.
We are live.
We're
we
live.
just about made it on.
Don't do the intro.
I didn't get a chance to say hello and you cut me out.
Sorry.
Where's my show?
Are we allowed to swear?
No swearing. It's not 9 o'clock.
I was going to call you.
We're not past the watershed yet.
Well, I'm going to start again.
Do it.
Right.
Because we're live, you can.
Welcome to another live episode of An Echo of Glory. I've got Jake Robson, as you've already heard, rudely interrupted by Jake Robson and Gary Diamond. It's game night.
Game night.
It's a big game night down on the river, away to Nottingham Forest.
What a difference a couple of games make, though, right?
44 days between our defeats, our win against Palace and our win against Newcastle. Can we win 2 games in 5 days?
100%. Gary will agree with me because
I always do.
Because you always do. I remember before Bournemouth. I think it was you said something along the lines, and you're probably right. It would be a disaster if we lost to Bournemouth. You've got to say the same away at Nottingham Forest.
Well, I've just seen the lineup and
Run us through it.
So I think it's the same lineup.
Unchanged team.
Unchanged
for the first time since the Liverpool-Luton games.
So you've got Vicario in goal, Pedro Porro right back, Udogie left back, Romero, Davies centre back, Bissouma and Sarr, Kulusevski, Johnson, Richarlison and Son. What will be interesting will be whether Son stays left or he swaps with Richarlison. That could be the only sort of slight change, but it wouldn't make sense for me for Richarlison to have started up front the other day and Son to have laid on 2 goals and then switch that around. And I want to see Richarlison up front. It'd be great to see him grab another goal, and we need him in hot form with a long run of games coming up between now and the end of January.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Thanks.
For the first time in a long time. Some guy working on the game tonight sent me, they're messing about with the graphics, and he just sent me something that the graphics team, and it didn't go out live to air, they were just faffing about, and Ndombele was at left back.
Wow.
Could you think of what would be the worst? I mean, I think he's the worst centre midfielder, but what would be the worst? Like in goal, he just wouldn't care. But what would be the worst position for Ndombele?
But before we get onto that, did we all see the tweet from the Turkish reporter this week? Can't remember. Did you see it?
No.
Oh, it was unbelievable. The Turkish reporter was tweeted something on the lines of, "So Galatasaray signed this bloke Ndombele, and he basically sits on the bench, eats sweets, and watches the team."
Which kind of sounded like what I do, but I'm not a professional footballer.
It sounds like what we all might do if we went to Turkey.
Yeah, I mean, but it's amazing assessment of Ndombele. He just sits there eating sweets, watching the team. Why have they signed this guy?
Could you imagine him as supposed to be a progressive left back?
You?
No, Ndombele.
Ndombele. Cool.
Well, in an Ange system, maybe that would be the position for him.
He can
good on the ball in the middle.
Yeah, but
Run in a straight line from the centre circle to the 6-yard box.
Mate,
and tap the ball in.
The unfortunate thing is, in an Ange system, he should be starting in the 10 tonight. Right, he would be sensational.
Do you think though? I think he'd be one of the 6s, no? Because we
10 or the 8, the 10 or the 8.
Yeah,
not the 6.
No,
I wouldn't
he'd be
trust
the 8.
him.
The 8. Imagine Maddison, a clued up, tuned in Ndombele, and then Bissouma. What a 3 that would be.
Yeah, but that's the point. Is Ndombele, for all the jokes and whatever, what a waste of talent that I've never seen the likes of before. Anyway, I can take it that graphic didn't go out.
That graphic didn't go out. So the lineup is, as you said, Gary, but there was a surprise on the bench. Obviously, we knew that Lo Celso was going to be injured, not available, and I think it was always coming. He does pick up a few injuries. Eric Dyer is on the bench.
Ooh. Well,
we've had. I'm going to interrupt you because we've had a message from Lemmy. It's 5 a.m. Not sure where Lemmy is. Maybe
I'm guessing he's in Australia.
In Australia, I've stayed up working, but won't last a kick-off. Good luck all.
Thank you very much.
Stay up.
Wait, hang on. Why
stay up for the win
and then not go through to? Why didn't you go to bed and then get up for kick-off?
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
I mean, unfortunately, I've never been to Australia, so I wouldn't know how I'd do it. But I would assume, unless he's been out all night, Friday night. He's just crawled in home as he's stayed up. He's just crawled in.
Working.
Working. Oh yeah.
Good effort from Lemmy.
Lemmy. Tell us, Lemmy. Come on, Lemmy, son. Stay up. Watch the game. Talk to us after. Just basically stay up for 2 days, just so you can talk to us. So Eric Dyer on the bench. Let's hope we don't have to go there.
Yeah, and so is Royal and Dorrington. So it's like 3 sort of centre backs / 1 right back. you'd hope that if it was needed, Dorrington would come on before Dyer.
No,
but I am surprised to see him on the bench. I kind of thought he was done at this point. Evidently not.
Interesting, though, that... well, it's not interesting that Johnson's kept his place, but it's good to see that he's kept his place, I think, because after the way that he played in that last game, I think they asked Ange about him at the press conference. Basically, they actually asked him at the one I went to last week, and he's going to be a topic of conversation. And he said to the one I went to that basically, because we were actually talking about maybe he's a bit shy. Oh no, it was when you weren't here actually, Johnny. We were talking
all right, cheers.
before we went. We were saying he's maybe a bit shy. He needs to take his opportunity. Yeah. And Ange said, "You don't leave Forest to go to Tottenham if you don't want to be the guy to try and make a difference. Because if you didn't, you would just stay at Forest." This is basically the answer that Ange gave. And so Ange was basically saying that this guy wants to come here and he wants to make a difference. So don't think that he's just here just to make up the numbers or, bigger pay pack or any of that stuff, because you can easily stay in your comfort zone, stay in your lane, and you stay at Forest. And he said that he very much feels that there's more to come from Johnson.
There's got to be a load more to come.
Well, no, but that he's sure that there will be more. Not just that he hopes that from what he's seen in training. And I think actually from fans as to from what we've seen, when Maddison comes back, I would have hoped that by the time we get to that point, that actually maybe Johnson will be one of the guy who's
regular.
Going to be, yeah,
well, there'll be an interesting,
because let's face it, the reason why he's got to go and Decky's in midfield in the centre is because Maddison is injured.
Correct. So there's going to be a very interesting selection. It's good problems to have, but who would you start on the right, Kulusevski or Johnson?
Well,
but when you
it's basically a shootout for about a month or so, isn't it?
But when you look at the bench tonight, you can see how desperately we need those options because just going back to that bench, I just want to go through this. All right, Forster, Royale, Dorrington, Dyer, so 3 defenders, Højbjerg, Skip, my God, Gil, and then you've got Donnelly and Valise. I mean, we were talking...
Donnelly got a few minutes the other day, didn't he?
No, listen, I'm all about Jamie Donnelly and Valise. I think the 2 players that are going to have futures at Tottenham, but right now there's a lot to ask them to come on and change a game. We were talking to the City fan the other day who said that if it's the first 11 that's going to win it for them, we have got nothing coming off the bench today.
So it's the first time we've named an unchanged team since end of September, start of October when we beat Liverpool and Luton. We know why. There's been barely any opportunity to do so. That is so important, especially when you've got a new manager and you're learning a new way, to have consistency. So hopefully that will be a real positive going into today's game.
Absolutely. And actually, when I remember when we spoke when we did this on Friday morning, between West Ham and Newcastle, I was saying that actually we were saying that we wanted some continuity in selection, but actually I was kind of thinking with such a short turnaround between those games, maybe you wanted somebody to come in and freshen it up. And as it turned out, we had Sarr back, we had Richarlison back. Actually, I think from last Sunday to this game, I think it's a long enough break. It wasn't too strenuous, that performance, the whole game. It wasn't like a 90 minutes kind of, we were pushing till the end. They had enough of a break. And actually, this is exactly the kind of game where you go, I want continuity of selection, the same team, let's pick up where we left off.
Do you want to read a couple of comments?
Yeah,
because I want to talk about how we're feeling about the game, but we've got a few comments.
Mo Hashim, big up to everyone there. Let's hope we get a win, regardless of how the lads do it, just a win. Well, I agree, Mo. This is Mo from Singapore.
People are actually watching.
3 a.m. in... Why are you so surprised? 3 a.m. in Asia.
You told me no one would be watching.
They've only come to see you. 3 a.m. in Asia. Lovely to hear from you, Mo.
Have some respect for... You know what I mean? Like, you don't appreciate...
No, you don't.
The effort that people make in other parts of the world to stay up and watch us.
Well, it makes you realise, if you... And we know, all of us, but Johnny and especially, there are football fans all over the world, or Premier League fans all over the world.
It's mad.
And we take for granted that in order for these guys in Asia to be hardcore Premier League fans, of which there are plenty, they have to watch most of their games in the middle of the night.
Silly hours. Yeah. Massive respect.
Son of a Ghana we heard from on our last live show, Coys, let's be up and at it. The win, 3-0.
That's what I'm...
Keep your eyes open, Mo. Don't want to miss this. Son of a Gun's right. And Marlon Engush gets me.
Another one.
Sorry if I pronounced your surname. Sorry if I pronounced your surname.
Wow, in Mauritius.
Watching from Mauritius. Love your shows, Coys. We love that you love it.
Thank you very much.
Maybe we could do a show from Mauritius one day. Get the budget.
Marlon, you're a travel agent.
Speak to James.
Speak to James.
How are we feeling about tonight?
Yeah, positive. I know. What? I've not even had a beer.
You're one down in this game.
1-0 down
1-0 down early.
Can we recover? I just, the way we played against Newcastle was brilliant. Forest, they're not on their knees, but almost feel like this is like the goodbye for Cooper. No, I don't. They've got very few goals in them. If we pray properly, Romero doesn't get himself sent off.
If we pray properly.
If we play properly. I always pray. I always pray with this team. If we play properly and Angeball turns up, I think that we'll have far too much for them.
I think the only things that concern me tonight is the Friday night. If this was a 12:30 Saturday kickoff, sort of dreary type thing, or even a 3 o'clock, but the Friday night 8 o'clock, it is going to be a bouncing atmosphere. They're going to get right behind Steve Cooper and the team. It does throw a little bit of jeopardy into the game in what otherwise I think would have been an absolute banker. But ultimately, over the course of 90 minutes, you'd like to think we will get on top for a significant period of time, and the class will tell.
I'm just looking here. Forest, only one win from their last 12 in the Premier League. They've lost their last 2 at the City Ground as well.
Which is as many as they'd lost in their previous 20.
And quite frankly, not a good time to play Tottenham. If you're Forest, I think.
Yeah, I don't think any time's a good time to play Tottenham. Even when we had that run of...
You not heard of Dr. Tottenham?
I don't think that's like... Look,
it's a thing.
I don't think it is anymore. I mean, okay, it worked for Chelsea. Always works for Chelsea.
I would have said at some point last week, whether it was the West Ham or the Newcastle game, would have been a better time to play Tottenham with the personnel that we have available. So
but I just don't think any team will look forwards to playing us with how we play at this moment. It's not like under the previous guy where... Forest tonight could say, "Oh, they're going to sit in. They're not going to want to concede early. They're going to make sure to keep it tight." And bouncing atmosphere on a cold Friday night, get behind Steve Cooper, and they could have got at us.
Yeah,
I just don't think any team thinks. I think they'd always think they've got a chance. You can always get a goal against this Tottenham team, but can you keep us out? Is the bigger question, because with a bit of finishing, we should score 3 or 4 goals in most games. I think.
We haven't won.
Why are you
I don't think it's that. You can't just say we're going to score 3 or 4. It's the
we
Premier League.
We create that many chances.
Well, actually, I think this season, I keep doing this. Up until the Luton game, I was able to say we'd scored 2 in every game. And after the Luton game, I was able to say we've scored 2 in every game, apart from Luton, but we had Bissouma sent off early. Yeah. And then we had Chelsea, and then we had Wolves.
Yeah.
And then we had, stick with me here, we had one more, and then we had City. Or
Villa.
Did we not?
Villa.
Then we had City.
Yeah.
So it's only 4 games that we've scored.
Exactly. But the
nobody's
fact of the
kept a clean sheet against us.
But you can make a case.
No, we scored in every game this season.
We scored in every game. But at one point, it was like we scored 2 in every game. And I think you can. We probably should have had 2 against Villa. If we weren't down to 9, I think we'd have still scored with...
We nearly did with 9.
We nearly did with 9. If we were 10, we'd have scored 2 against Chelsea. If we hadn't had Bissouma sent off...
I think we'd have scored 3 or 4 against Chelsea.
Right, exactly. If we hadn't had Bissouma sent off against Luton, we definitely would have scored another goal. Obviously, against Newcastle, we scored 4. So I think there's nothing that I've seen so far this season where you wouldn't now back us to score 2 goals.
That's what I'm saying.
I think that's fair
enough. But I
enough.
also agree with Lloyd Becker here, who's just said that he's going with 3-1 Spurs.
Hang on, he said something else before that.
Sorry, I'll come back to that in a minute.
He said he hates the show.
But while we're on this, 3-1 seems to be the safe bet, because the team will always get a couple of chances against us. So I'm saying 3-0, but 3-1 makes sense.
We're not as bad in that sense. Brighton have scored and conceded in every game this season. And actually, until we had our little wobble against Chelsea, we'd actually been very, very solid until basically we lost Van de Ven. We'd been for all the attacking football we played, we'd actually been more solid than I thought we would be in the opening 10 or so games.
Just want to come back to Brighton in a minute, but do you want to read Sydney?
Yeah. Did you mention that Lloyd has said he's a big fan of the show? Sydney Duke, morning lads. Infinitely better Saturday morning than a midweek kickoffs coys.
Yeah, fair point.
Someone left the window
out there.
They're coming for you, Gary.
Probably.
Billy P. Looks as though it's 5-3-2 from Forest. I was just about to say, Billy, I was going to read out the Forest team, and I'll do that in a second.
Should we look at the Forest? Who are we even playing?
It could be difficult to break
Doesn't matter.
Could be difficult to break them down if we don't score early. We'll see. They'll definitely set up with a low block. And Ali Min Son, evening chaps, are we feeling confident? Yeah, we are. We are, Ali. Let's just do the Forest team.
Are you, Ali? That's the question.
Let's just do the Forest team. Turner in goal, ex-Gooner. Back three, possible five. Bowley, Murillo.
Do you want to read out the team and we can go boo?
Bowley, Murillo, Niakate, Williams, Yates, Mangala, Kouyaté, Toffolo, Elanga and Gibbs-White. I mean, they really miss Awoniyi up front. They
do. Is that a question or is that a statement?
No, it's a statement.
Well, I mean, listen, they've been a different team without him. I mean, he was their top scorer with 4 goals. It's, one win in their last 7 in all comps for Forest, and with that defeat against Fulham as well. We joked about it last week, didn't we? The owner leaving early, chucking his pass in the bush. Did anyone even respond to that?
No.
They didn't want to know. No one listens to the end.
Very distracted right now. I'm sorry. I don't know if you can.
It's live music. Launch Pod. Let me say, Launch Pod Studios. This brilliant setup we've got here. James has got.
Should we just?
If James can hear us, actually, I kind of need James to come in because I need him to do something. So if you can hear me, James, can you come in?
Is he bringing you your pizza?
No, we've got a guest waiting. I really
want
to get
live
on.
music in the studio next door.
There's live music in the studio next door.
It's very nice. It's lovely. If you could hear it, you'd be in for a treat. But it's quite distracting as well. I'm looking at that Forest team. Very robust in midfield. That Williams is a good player. A lot of pace. They're not without their threat. Gibbs-White, here he is. Gibbs-White is a fantastic player. So they're not without threat. We shouldn't underestimate them.
Of course.
Gibbs-White, another good.
But
was he?
Yeah.
Was he? No, that's Kieran Gibbs.
And Morgan Gibbs-White.
Was he at Arsenal?
Yeah.
Hang on. Enough of you. We've got a guest. Can you hear us, Julian?
No, you don't need to because he'll be in there.
Yeah. What? Can you hear us, Julian?
Up there.
Yeah, but if people are watching, can
they
see?
I don't know they can see us.
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear us?
Yeah.
So we've managed to get hold of Julian, who's at the ground, at the City ground. Managed to get a fan who's going to the game. Wanted to speak to someone who's done the 150-odd mile trip. How was the journey?
Yeah, journey wasn't too bad. I'm hoping the journey home will be better than my previous journey home from Nottingham, which was in '96 in the snow.
No, I was there.
It took 7.5 hours.
7.5 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was a nightmare.
And you only saw what, 20 minutes of football?
Sorry?
You only saw 7.5 hours and you only saw 25 minutes of football,
I can't remember how long that game lasted.
Yeah, mind you, that was 15 more than I saw at Burnley 2 years ago that I went to.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was postponed. Yeah, I remember that.
I remember being about at junction 15 when we got called off against Barnsley.
And we all had to turn around.
Yeah,
anyway, he doesn't want to hear our stories, but we want to hear from Julian. Julian, you've seen the lineup unchanged for the first time since end of September, start of October. What are your thoughts on the lineup? Expected?
Well, I think the team sort of picked itself, really, doesn't it, with the amount of injuries we've got. So, yeah, no surprise there. I suppose the big hope is hopefully Romero lasts 90 minutes.
Yeah. Is there atmosphere building outside the ground? Can you feel it? A lot of Spurs there?
Yeah, I don't know if you can see behind me. Fans are just outside the Spurs turnstiles, so about to go in.
How many have we got up there tonight? Do you know?
I think they've got about 3,000 tonight.
Nice.
Very nice.
So yeah, fingers crossed.
Well, if we just wait here and you bring each of them up to have a word, that would be great.
Okay, stay there. I'll do my best.
Julian, we'll let you go in, and we're going to talk to you after the game as well. Win, lose, or draw. Hopefully, hopefully the win. We're going to ask now, Julian. Go on, prediction.
Predicting Spurs after watching them for 52 years. I tell you what, last week when Newcastle scored, I got a bit worried. You can never be sure, but I don't know. 2-0, I'm going Spurs.
Okay, we hope so. From your mouth to God's ears. Julian, enjoy the game, and we'll speak to you after. Really appreciate it. And up
Cheers,
the Spurs.
Julian. Enjoy.
Cheers, Jules.
Thanks, guys. Speak soon.
Cheers, Julian. Cheers.
Take care.
Cheers.
Fantastic. What a sport.
Yeah. Great to hear from someone who. Why couldn't you be bothered to go, Gas?
Me?
Yeah.
I couldn't get tickets. I can't. Do you know, I used to get tickets to any away game, and then kids and work, and now I can't get a ticket to any away game. So that's the way it goes.
You need to know the right people. He's still
Yeah.
there.
I don't know. James has disappeared, so we need Julian to cut himself off.
Should we go back to some of the comments? Because we've had a few. Where were we?
Gone.
Looks like it's 3-5-2. Evening chaps, we're feeling confident. Yes, we covered that. What are your thoughts on Harry Suter from Leicester? It's interesting.
So that's one for Dan
Gobb.
Gobb.
Dan, can I just say Morgan Gibbs White didn't play for us?
No, totally.
No, I've got.
I'll do the stats.
Dan was Wolves, wasn't he?
Dan Gobb.
He's listening, is he?
No, he loves Harry Suter, Australian centre back. I think scored at the World Cup.
He did.
Maybe not against France, but he scored at the World Cup.
Against Argentina? No.
Not sure. I'll look it up. Talk amongst yourselves.
I just feel like if Harry Suter was, and I get the Australian connection, I get where he's coming from with this triple shot 0901 YT. I get where he's coming from with it, with the Australian connection, and Harry Suter is a good player, but I feel as though if he was going to go to a top team, it would have happened, and I don't think there's been the noise around it that, you know, and ultimately, you know, to me, Harry Suter is probably an Everton player, so with respect to Everton, but that would be a great signing for an Everton type team. I'm not about Harry Suter, I'm sorry, he's not what I think we need at this point.
I agree, I don't think he's quick enough. Sorry, I dissed you for your stats. He didn't score at the World Cup, but he was excellent at the World Cup. He has scored 3 goals in his last 3 games for Australia, against New Zealand, Bangladesh and Palestine, and once against Mexico, so 4 in his last 5. I don't think he's quick enough. I've not seen much of him at club level for Leicester. He's only played once this season. Don't know. There's a lad that we've been linked with, Dragusic from Genoa.
They're allegedly watching him tonight, aren't they?
So he'll play 25 minutes, get injured and come off.
You're such a misery.
I said we're going to win 2-0. A couple of more comments on our YouTube. Evening Gents Chorus from J Mac. Sidney Duke loved the trips to Forest back in the late 80s, early 90s. Seemed to play them in a cup every season for a few years. Yeah, Sedgley Lake equaliser and League Cup memorable limbs on the old open
Sydney
terrace.
watched our last show when we had the
Daniel
the
Taylor.
Forest. Who we were talking. Both of us, really, all of us were talking about our scars from the battles with Spurs and Forest in the past. But yeah, Sidney Duke appears to know all about those.
Hotspur Sam always gets involved on the YouTube comments. Good evening, lads. Good evening, Sam and Sidney Duke. Yeah, I agree. Suter, decent centre back, but not for the Ange high line. Let's talk about January. We just talked about we've been able to make no changes for the first time in a while. The bench is still weak. We know we've got injuries, but when you saw the subs that came on against Newcastle, Skip and Hill, and there was no real recognised centre back, or certainly Højbjerg, your mate. Yeah. No real experienced centre back. What do we need?
I'm saying his name differently these days. It's Højbjerg.
Very Danish.
That's just me chucking up.
Right. We need a centre half. We know that. So if they're going to go and sign this Dragusic, but he's got to be able to play in a high line.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think I would suggest there aren't many amongst us who would be able to give us a thorough scouting report on this guy, and anybody that says they can, I'm going to call out and say,
a bit like Vicario.
But what I would say is that just off the back of a couple of really good windows that has transformed this first team, I have a lot more trust in the way we're approaching transfers. There seems to be a lot more analysis and data going into it. So even if none of us have heard of this guy, seen this guy play, could tell you the first thing about him, I could tell you something. He's 6'3", because I looked that up today.
And he got a ponytail. I saw that.
I'm all about it. But I wish I could get a ponytail. If my hair carries on going that way, maybe I will one day. I mean, I think I trust the scouting team and the way they're going about their transfers. And if we're going to do it, and it sounds like a transfer that's possible to do, it shouldn't be too difficult, too complex. Get it done January the 1st. Get him in, because we need him.
Hotspur Sam asks, whatever and whomever the manager wants. Where have I heard that before?
Most managers we say it about, don't we? But
but
I think it's more than that. It's about the positions that we need, and it's not about who the manager wants. It's actually about, these are the players that conform to the type of player that you have identified you like. These are the data. These are the stats. And now we're going to go and try and find who it is, and do a deal. Yeah. And the manager will sign. So it's not a question. It's not like Conte going, I want, give me his name.
Skriniar. Gvardiol.
No.
Bastoni.
Bastoni.
It's not Conte going,
I got there in the end.
I want Bastoni, and if it's not Bastoni, it's nobody. It's not.
Was he the Godfather?
He was, wasn't he? He actually was. Thank you for picking up on that.
Sopranos.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not like that. It's about what I want, Ange, is this type of player who has these types of attributes, and then they go and
for the first time in a long time, I'm trusting in the scouting and who they're bringing in.
I'm trying to look up and how far back you go. When we signed Kulusevski and Bentancur, is that January 2021?
No, 2022.
2022.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd say from then on, things have been pretty good in the transfer market. Well, that's now in this January. That'll be 2 years. So that's 4 or 5 windows that we'll have looked back on and gone, actually, we've actually signed some pretty good players in that time. Just looking here, we signed Bentancur, we signed Bissouma, we signed Kulusevski, we've signed Maddison, we've signed Richarlison. Okay, the jury's still out. I think Johnson, is
Romero
a good young
was
signing.
the window before that.
There you go, Romero.
Porro, Udogie. Like, it's phenomenal.
The hit ratio is
couple
good.
of years.
The turnaround is sensational.
We could do a whole show on failed Tottenham signings.
Show? We could do a series.
Year.
We did 5 minutes at the top of this show, and I'm Dombele.
And I always say that any club anywhere, really, you're going to make probably more players are not going to come off than actually do come off.
Well, Hotspur Sam's just made a good point, and I wanted to raise this because it's a concern of mine, because you're talking about these transfers, and it does very much coincide with Fabio Paratici, and I think we can say what we like. There's a couple of misses in there, Brian Hill, Richarlison.
They're always
fine.
Be.
But the turnaround coincides very much with Fabio Paratici, who we know is no longer apparently
officially
associated with the club.
He's consulting,
and that is
apparently
a concern for me.
No, but the rumour is he's got a big black book, and I think Levy's aware of that, and I think they're definitely still in touch. You hear this guy potentially coming from Genoa.
He was at Juve. He was at Juve as a kid.
Fingerprints all over it.
Right. So I actually hope so, because as Sam says there, as long Fabio still around with influence, well, that's the point. He's the one I have
in answer to Hotspur Sam's, I think, the answer is probably yes. He's around, isn't he?
A couple of other messages. Lloyd Becker wants to know. Lloyd is an old friend, actually. Wants to know when we get my dad on. When we do the
stooges.
When we do the
bulking up the numbers.
I didn't ask him. He just loves the show, Jay.
Don't we all?
Yeah. When we do the review of the double team, I'll get my dad on. But Sidney Duke makes a good point. Again, we're going to lose. We're going to lose HMS Bissouma. Was he a ship?
Where am I looking?
We're going to Sidney Duke. About 4 messages up. We're going to lose Bissouma and Sarr to AFCON, the Asia Cup. This is something that, being the pessimist...
And Son.
Yeah, and Son to the Asia Cup.
Does he mean HMS?
Heung-min Son. Heung-min Son.
Heung-min Son, yeah.
There you go, Heung-min Son. Not like the ship that is Bissouma.
The ship that is Bissouma. Yeah, no, we discussed this, I think, on the last show as well. It's really worrying. We need some reinforcement early doors in that January window. I think Postecoglou spoke about it today or yesterday.
He wants them early.
Yeah.
I think that's going back with when I've heard that before.
Oh, I see.
No. I think that's where I've heard that before. Managers want players in early. I don't think January's an easy time to sign anyone.
No.
Especially, look, the good thing about...
Name me another January where we would have been in this much... I'm not going to say trouble, but this many key players.
No, I couldn't.
Also, where the players are going to
Kulusevski and Bentancur was a big January, and they were needed.
No, but I'm saying
he's talking about with short of numbers.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
When Son's going to play in the Asia Cup?
Yeah.
Right.
Could be out for 6 games, as mentioned.
Does AFCON and Asia Cup always coincide? So have we always lost Son at the same time? Okay, maybe we haven't had as many African players, but it doesn't feel like this has been a thing in the past. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But we've now got Son, obviously, who is always been our key player. Bissouma is one of our key players. Sarr is one of our key players. I don't remember the last time where we were basically these are 3 starters.
The killer was the injury to Bentancur, because that would have covered Bissouma. That would have covered Bissouma very, very nicely, and that's a real kick in the teeth. Johnny, who does? I'm going to throw you under a bus here. Who does AFCON and the Asian Cup impact the most?
Very good question.
Do you want to come back to it?
Don't know the answer yet. We'd be up there. We'd be up there. It's a good question. I'll see if I can get the answer. But when 2019, Son went to the Asian Cup in January.
Yeah. I remember that.
He missed a win at Fulham.
And they
the
kept
Winks last
they
minute.
keep winning, and we thought, he's going to come back. He's going to come back.
They got to the quarter-final.
Yeah.
They lost their first game and got to the quarter-final. He missed a win against Fulham, the EFL Cup semi-final second leg defeat to Chelsea, and then an FA Cup defeat against Palace. And he came back. I remember this. I think Kane was injured because he scored.
Yeah, he was injured.
We beat Watford at Wembley. We beat Newcastle at Wembley. We beat Leicester at Wembley. We had 3 home games in a row, of which he scored in all of them. Kane didn't come back till Burnley away. So at the time, we were without Son and Kane. So
there you go.
So who played up front?
Ali. No, Ali was injured because he went off. That Fulham game that you're talking about was when he did his hamstring.
Ali scored at Fulham and got
then went
injured.
off.
So Llorente.
Of course. What a sexy man. I love Llorente.
It was moved due to COVID, and when given to Saudi, the time was changed as well. So yeah, I don't think we've been impacted by the Asia Cup so much.
At the same time as
yeah.
I don't remember that.
African players, we've had a few go, but this year losing the heart of your central midfield.
Yeah.
I mean, Bentancur was going to be the cover, right?
Yeah.
And then Matty Cash turned up and ruined it for everybody.
Well, yeah, I mean, I mean, if even if Bentancur was fit, I still think it would. If you look at the players that we have available, like a Skip or a Højbjerg, the midfield would be probably one of the areas where you think we're probably a bit light. If you're looking at players that proper Ange players, because ultimately he's always playing 3 in midfield. So if your first choice is Bentancur, Bissouma and Maddison, that basically leaves you Sarr as another one of his kind of players, and then the other two. Well, now Kulusevski, so maybe we're not in as bad a position as we thought. I tell you another person we need to talk about, because since we went off air last time, remember we were talking about Udogie and the rumours of his new contract.
Yeah, he signed it.
He signed it literally as we
and we were saying a Chelsea-style contract, and it's through till 2030, and you picked up on something, didn't you? They announced it
a minute later,
a minute before the announcement that you can no longer do these massive great. Very clever.
But we've signed players on. Clubs have signed players on long-term deals. I think the Chelsea thing was basically when
corrupt.
Are we allowed to say that, Johnny?
No.
I withdraw.
I think the Chelsea thing was when you have to pay the money by. And before, what Chelsea were getting round was that they were dragging out these payments over a course of 7, 8, 9 years. Whereas now you have to. Well, I don't know if we were. I don't know if. Whereas was every club doing that?
No, because they weren't having players on contracts for 7, 8 years. And the idea is that if you have, let's say, a £70 million player, and you give him a 10-year contract, then it's costing you $7 million a year on your book, right? That's the idea of it, which is why they were doing it, because it gets around financial fair play. What they're saying now is that £70 million player, number one, I think you can only give him the contract for a maximum of 5 years, but as a consequence, it's you can't get around financial fair play in that way. There's some more interesting things here. Heath predicts 6-0 to Tottenham, 3 from corners.
I'll take it.
Now, if that happens, I'm going to ask Heath for the lottery numbers. Depends on.
Sounds like he's got a bet on.
Sydney Duke, depends how far Senegal and Mali go. I don't think Mali will go very far, but Senegal, as Sydney Duke says, is one of the big guns in the AFCON, and they could go far. So it's
Bissouma doesn't even start for Mali, which is bizarre.
So he just shouldn't go.
I agree. I'd knock it on the head, mate.
Just knock it on the head.
If you're watching, Biss,
stay here, mate.
HMS Biss.
Oh, DJ Pablo says he loves this. We love it too.
We love you too, Pablo.
Nice one. I love this question from Heung-min Son. This is a great discussion because we were having this.
Before we answer this, can I just answer your question about AFCON and Asian Cup?
Have you looked it up?
I have.
Great work.
So no one seemingly loses more than one player to the Asia Cup. I think Endo from Liverpool, Hwang from Wolves, Godos from Brentford, Japan, and a couple of others. No one seems to lose more than one. AFCON, there's a few. You don't want to be Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest could lose 7 players.
No way.
I mean, they have got 36 players. In the clubs around us, Villa would lose 1. Traore doesn't play that much anyway. Arsenal would lose El Neni and Partey.
He's injured.
Brighton would lose 3. Dingra, Lamptey and Baleba. We play them just before, of course we do. Chelsea would lose 1.
Wait, has Lamptey opted for an
he plays for Ghana.
You do? Okay.
Liverpool would lose 2. Matip, he's injured anyway, isn't he? Salah, obviously. Forest 7. United 3. Anana, but he might retire again. Medjbury doesn't play, and Amrabat, who is on the pitch but doesn't
Anana keeps
play.
arguing with the manager, doesn't he?
Yeah. And West Ham could lose 4. Kudus, Benrahma, Aged and Cornet. 3 of those are key. So there's the answer. Heung-min Son.
Yeah, Heung-min Son asked a great question. It's I'm interested in this one. We had a bit of a debate about it on our group this week, didn't we? And over the summer, in fact. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I saw those messages.
Different group.
Yeah, which group's this?
What?
Sorry, mate. So
What happened now? Go on, what I missed?
No,
he's upset that he's not in the group where
he
we
said, we're
discussed
having this
this.
debate on our group. And I said, oh, which one's this?
Yeah, I can't tell you.
Jesus.
Heung-min Son asks, what are your thoughts on Conor Gallagher rumours? Oh, I love this question. This is a great debate.
I haven't seen the rumours, but I'd have him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Is this the chat?
Yeah.
It's a rumour.
It's a rumour. It is a rumour. I think it's one of those where, again, coming back to Chelsea and their financial fair play issues, which seems to be a bit of a theme that I was not expecting tonight. He's homegrown. He hasn't cost them anything. So in terms of financial fair play and getting around it, he is one that would be very good for them to sell to help them with their financial situation. So there are a lot of rumours about Conor Gallagher moving on, even though he's captain. I'd like it for a couple of reasons. One, I think Poch really likes him. He's made him captain, so up yours. That's one. But two, I think he's a good player. I don't, and one of the things that was discussed about Conor Gallagher was he's not like a glamour player. He's not like a big star name and what have you. But I think he fits an Ange system really well with his energy, how he gets around the pitch. He can play probably the 8. Probably not the 6, but definitely the 8.
He'd definitely be on 4 yellows by September, which is what seems to happen right now.
But and he'd be homegrown, which can't,
very important.
Which can't be discounted.
He's technically very good as well.
He's a good player. And if you said to me this January we sold Højbjerg for 25 million and got Gallagher for 45 million, I'd say that is fantastic business, and he would definitely strengthen the squad.
I would love it, but I mean, I can't see Chelsea letting him go.
Well, I think
they're going to have to.
I think but
really?
Yeah.
In January?
Yeah, they need to sort their stuff out.
They're in a mess.
In January, so he's off in January.
He's not getting it.
He's only
Sounds
got 18
like he's not
months left.
signing a new
He's
deal.
got 18 months left of a contract.
Yeah.
So come the summer. Right. Yeah, I
they
can
sell
see.
to us.
I think they'll sell wherever's going to pay.
Yeah, so there's a couple of other messages. Ren, hello, Ren. I'm saying 4-0 Spurs. I'm liking 4-0 Spurs. DJ Pablo says 6-1. Then just clarifies it by Nottingham Forest 1, Spurs 6. We've lost like 6-1 to Bolton and Sheffield United before, so hopefully tonight it's not
Newcastle.
Yeah.
Even Chelsea couldn't beat us 6-1.
They did.
9 men.
Oh, yeah. They have done in the past. I remember a game, I think Ramon Vega put us ahead or made it 1-0. Those were the days. JS, tough match, no matter the opponent. Weeknight away. It's kind of
it's tough. That's what I was saying. It's the thing. It's the thing that sort of balances out a little bit.
Come on, Jay. It's the weekend, mate.
0-1, frustration, and nick it at the end.
I'll take that as well. I'll go through the drama and the trauma as long as we get them 3 points.
Sydney side of 3-1, 2 Richarlison headers, Johnson to score. Bench changes to leak a late goal. Yeah, every chance. Just on Gallagher. I think Gallagher has got the profile, J-Max says, for the number 8 role, but will be an arm and a leg. I don't know about that. I think 18 months, Chelsea got to get rid. Son of a gun. Great show, guys. Back. He's back. One of our favourites. One of our own.
2 out of 2 for
one of our own, isn't
it? Great show, guys. Need to do more pre-game, insightful discussion as always. Oh, thanks, mate.
Thanks, mate.
Thing is,
even with
I thought I'd just chat crap, to be honest.
Thing is, son of a gun, we're normally at the game. That's the problem.
It is difficult.
It also means you two are inside.
I mean, we've done well. Gary's normally at least 3 pints deep by this point.
To be honest,
at the goal line bar.
The problem I've got is that James isn't in there passing me the beers. So, like, this is empty, and I'm like, can I just get up for a minute?
No.
Oh.
But as you say, we're normally at the game, but it's something we're thinking about. Wang says, mate.
It's in our thoughts.
Wang says, mate nil. I assume he means 8-0. Ronnie 4-0. It might be Ronnie Rosenthal. Forest 0, Tottenham 4. Ren, early morning starter in Australia, but I'm here for it. We're loving
Ren.
it.
Go on, Ren.
And Ronnie reckons Richie and Son double in his 4-0 to Tottenham. So we're gonna got 5 minutes probably before we leave everybody, and we're not doing a watch along. We will be back. We will be back post match. Win, lose or draw. Preferably win.
You might be back post match if we lose.
Okay.
No guarantees.
When they talked about the inside, they were talking about me and Jake. So.
Yeah.
Lev, good show, guys. I reckon I know that guy. Gaz, give. Yeah, I've said that. Join us straight after the game.
Oh, we do.
That's the producer.
He's listening with one ear. Here he is.
Are we straight after?
Well, the link will be up
from after the game. After the game, yeah. We'll be on after the game.
Alev.
Give Gill a year. He's had time, mate. Come on now. When's he come on and really suggested to you that he's got it?
Do we reckon Alev is a friend, more than a friend of the show? Friend of yours, is he?
Yeah. You got a problem with that?
No, it's good. It's good. Get him.
He makes bold statements. His latest is that he told everybody that Man City were going to struggle for the top 4, and he's absolutely dining out on that.
Loving
Bed knobs and broomsticks is messaged in.
There's a few bits in.
What a film!
But shouldn't the guy on the right, he on the left, he's had to correct this a few times, be on the left, shouldn't the guy on the right be on the left? It depends which way you're looking at it. You're talking about Johnny or Jake? I don't
know what he's talking about. Explain yourself.
His angle's got to be this way, so should you not be there?
Why?
Well, he must be looking at it this way, so his right, I don't know, I can't work it out.
And you've only had one beer and you can't work it out.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't
Hotspur, everybody's predicting a Spurs win, right?
Not many clean sheets about.
I don't think Forest away is the game where you're going to predict us to lose. Like you could see, if somebody says, "Yeah, I don't think we're going to go away and beat City," you go, "Yeah, okay, I can make an argument for that." Who's going to stand up here as a Spurs fan, the way we've been playing this season, and say, "Actually, I'm a bit worried tonight. We could ship 2 or 3 goals."
Listen, to lose tonight would be a disaster.
There you go.
It just would be a disaster, and I think that's.
Well, you guys get your bingo, tick your bingo cards. That's fun. Lose tonight would be a disaster, Gary.
Yeah. Look, I'm going to read you a couple of pre-game stats.
Don't come back to me after the game.
I'm going to read you a couple of pre-game stats, if you don't mind. Do you mind?
Let's hear
I was just thinking about a tweet. This aged well. It would be a disaster to lose tonight. This aged well.
Tottenham have won just 3 of their last 12 Premier League games on a Friday. Means absolutely nothing. But we did win our last game on the Friday against Crystal Palace.
2 of our last 3. We've won 2 of our last 3.
Have we?
No, is that the stat?
No, we've lost 3 of our last 12.
Oh, so you see, I was listening.
Yeah.
And what? And can you even name, apart from the last
on
one
a Friday night?
When did we last play on a Friday night?
Probably around Christmas.
Well, listen, we need to start
possibly
turning it around.
COVID
We've got Burnley on a Friday night as well in the FA Cup, and I'd like to win that.
Yeah.
The FA Cup as well as
just beating
Burnley.
This is a nice one. Tottenham have scored in each of their last 28 Premier League matches, their longest scoring streak in league football since November 1962. Get my dad on to talk about that. So we've talked about it. We're all pretty sure we're going to score. As I say, a few people have said there won't be a clean sheet tonight. Gary Carter, evening Gary. All right, lads. 2-3 Coys. I assume that's 3-2 Spurs. Nick Spiro, Coys, big game tonight. Wilson T. Yes, chaps, 3-0. Easy, comfortable win, Coys.
A few months ago. Yeah, amazing how we forget these things.
Man, it would bloody suck if we lost this morning, Ren. It'd be suck if we lost this evening.
Evening as well.
Jake Sanders, Crystal Palace, we played 2 months ago on a Friday. Yeah.
If we lost this evening, we go to bed and sleep it off. Ren's got the day ahead of her.
Yeah, but he's in the sun, isn't he? In Sydney or something, so he'll be all right.
Yeah, fair. I'll just go to the beach and it'll be fine.
Yeah, exactly.
We're gonna go off. We're gonna watch the game. We're gonna have some dinner. Gary's gonna have another beer. We are gonna come back at full time. Keep an eye on the YouTube channel. And we'll be on post-match. I'm going to get a prediction from you both.
Again? What did I go with last time?
Can't remember. Wait. Sydney side. Can Romero get through with a yellow? Worth noting that Udogie and Romero are on 4 yellow cards. If they get suspended today, they miss Everton at home next week. So
and they've got another, 3 games to get through before
they've got to get to 19 games before it sort of resets. You've got to get 10 yellows to get suspended.
Right.
So quick predictions, and we're going to leave you and we'll be back at full time.
3-1 Tottenham for me.
I'm going 3-0.
Gary's unplugged. He's already halfway to the shop.
I want to get my burger and a beer and get settled in.
I'm going to go 2-0 Spurs. Producer James, what's the score going to be?
3-0 Spurs.
3-0 Spurs. Anyway, listen, enjoy the game. Join us after. See you at full time. Up the Spurs.